Boom, hey internets. Are you having trouble diversifying the look of your brand? The beginning of this video came from a subscriber who asked, what else can I use besides my logo to put out for graphic designs, for a new drop of merch, for my clothing line? If you're stuck on this video is gonna go over a different mindset when it comes to approaching the art direction and the actual looks that you're putting together for your clothing line or your merch. I'm John Phenom, clothing brand mentor. I've been working professionally in apparel as this is post dating over 21 years, and I worked with a bunch of multi-million-dollar brands in the title of apparel designer all the way through to creative director and brand director. Branding is a big topic. You hear a lot of big companies talking about staying on brand. It's more important now than it ever has been, even with individuals and micro influencers and content creators, where they are quite literally their own brand and their own media company, all the way to, again, as I said, multi-million-dollar corporations. And so the personality, the persona is a big thing for what you put out in the webosphere or in the atmosphere in the world for your brand. Now, the good thing about fashion is it's always been dependent on those looks. So we're kind of ahead of the curve of knowing what kind of work you have to put in there. As I always say on this channel, fashion is a visual language. People buy visually before they click the button to actually put it in their shopping cart. And I talk in depth on both the live streams and these videos on this channel about research and trending. And a lot of that is the same type of work. In a regular art department, the first cycle of creating a season, or let me just say a drop of apparel or merchandise, and a drop can be as small as 2 t-shirts and a hat, or 2 t-shirts and a beanie. It can be as large as a full delivery of like 20 items, 20 garments, or 20 designs in one drop, okay? And you don't have to do things seasonally. I'm just used to saying seasons because when we're working at a multi-million-dollar company, it's going to have its direct to customers, right? And it's also gonna serve retail and have a wholesale portion of their business where they have to work within the confines of having both seasons and then drops or deliveries inside of those seasons. So the average person checking out my channel is a small company, so I'm just gonna say drops, because you can start with as little as one product, like 1 t-shirt, sell it all out, and keep going, and then growing each drop bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, let's get to the question, do you have to start with the logo tee? No, you can start with anything. I always say, start with something that you're really confident you can sell, all right? Because with the first couple rounds on my channel, I always say we're looking for proof of concept. If you're subscribed and you know me, you said it along with me. Proof of concept is what we're looking for. And so we do that through the first several rounds of product and trying to explore and be flexible and know that we're looking for, if we're getting a response from the brand, if people want to see more from the brand, more than just your family and your friends, beyond that, you want to have a stranger see your brand and say, wow, I really want to buy that, I gotta cop that, I have to have that, right? And hit buy on that e-commerce cart. So having said that, what else can you do? What else can you put out? Well, I'm a big fan of having a mood board to kind of describe your brand in images, right? We always say pictures are worth 1,000 words. So if you put 10 pictures together, you now have 10,000 words that describe a vibe, right, of your brand. And that can change. It should change as your brand goes through different growths. I mean, it's something that's almost living and breathing, right? So the Nike brand that you know today has a different identity than the brand from a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So that will always change, and that's very common with startup brands because you're trying to figure out what works, you're trying to figure out what categories you can grow in. And with t-shirts specifically, since it's something that's printed, it can be something that is just a logo, and it can be a photographic design that's put together by your graphic designer. There's so many things that we can use to describe the brand at a relatively low cost. If you're talking about screen printing, or if you're doing super color transfers with a heat press, that just gives you a lot of different flexibility to start with. So I'm here to tell you there is no formula. You can start with something that's athletic based in a look. You could do something with photo realistic or photo infused graphic design. There's like a neo-punk look that I've seen a lot lately. There's also looks that I feel are classic activewear looks that are somewhat athletic but also just kind of like streetwear. And so even though in bigger companies we might roll those out in categories, so we might have 4 athletic based ones or varsity based ones, we might have an animal that we use alongside with the logo that's an inspiration for the brand, right? I think of a lot of companies that have paired an animal as a mascot or a logo, like Echo Unlimited in the past, or new ones that we see now, and that can be a whole nother description of things. Using quotes from books, movies, or any kind of reference that will be popular within the demographic and the genre that you're using is something you could definitely instill in there. Of course, if you have a tagline for your company, that's something you should be able to incorporate into the graphics. So in the printed neck label, inside of random hits of a pocket tee, or just an off hit that's unexpected. Maybe you do a custom woven label inside of your headwear for your blanks that has a saying that you start to incorporate within your graphic design. So just between that and some of the visuals that I put up on the screen, you can see that there's so many directions you can go. So when a new brand is telling me that they have designer's block, it's just a matter of going out there and doing research and trending, of seeing what other people are doing, and maybe taking some of these concepts that I've told you about and kind of incorporating that into a whole new batch of new looks. And like I said, that's just the first part of the cycle when we're in a clothing company where we're doing trend and research, and then we're actually putting them to the design, making it more cohesive for an actual drop. Again, whether the drop is 2 t-shirts and a hat, or much larger than that, let's say up to 6 to 8 pieces, right? You want them to look in some sort of cohesion or some sort of theme and grouping. If you wanted a ridiculous amount of information just focused on this topic, I have a course called Expanding Brand ID, and it can really jumpstart these notions and go much deeper in each module. And I'm always updating all my courses as I get new discoveries of different things that can help your brand make it to the next level. So check that out on CBA, or you could just click the link below. If you have questions on this or anything for your fashion brand, please drop it all down below, or you can text me at this number here. It's gonna get me directly. Keep your post notices on. I'm always going live, so I could possibly answer your question on one of the live sessions that I do on a weekly basis most of the time. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.